The Vegas Golden Knights, they were fourth in the Pacific last year after just a cataclysmic uh, fall from grace in the second half of the season. They were 22nd in Corsi for percentage, 15th in expected goals for percentage, and 18th in scoring chances for percentage at even strength. So really, really meh numbers at even strength. Their 5v5 save percentage was 11th in the league at 908, so pretty decent goaltending. And their shooting percentage was 12th in the league at 9.68% at even strength. Their power play percentage was tied for 20th at 20.2%. So I mean, none of these numbers are really incredible for the Gold Knights. They just somehow figure out a way to claw things out. And I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see what they look like this year, because when we look at the key departures and key additions, I do feel like they had more going out the door than they have coming in. Jonathan Marchessault obviously left after being lowballed, left for Nashville. Logan Thompson got traded to the Capitals. Chandler Stevenson signed in Seattle, as previously mentioned, and then Anthony Mantha left for the Calgary Flames. And then in terms of key additions, Ilya Samsonov comes in to replace Logan Thompson. Alexander Holtz comes over from New Jersey in a trade where Paul Cotter got sent the other way. Akira Schmid also came over in that deal, so he'll be the third goaltending option, I would assume. And then Victor Olofsson was an offseason signing as well, so it'll be interesting to see where he slots in. He kind of played all over the place in Buffalo, but there's really not a ton of offensive depth on this team, so he could play a bigger role than maybe some people think. In terms of goaltending, Adin Hill had 35 starts last year, had a bit of injury troubles, but still played well when he was there. He had a 912 even strength save percentage. Ilya Samsonov in Toronto had 40 starts with a 901 even strength save percentage. Really struggled last year at times. He's been pretty up and down in his career. But that's a guy that when he's hot, he looks really good. So that's a guy that I'm keeping a close eye on here, because if he could potentially steal the 1A position in Vegas. I do think that it'll probably be a tandem situation where Adin Hill is the 1A and Samsonov is the 1B, but it could potentially flip at some point. And Adin Hill, like I mentioned, he's had injury troubles in the past, so it's possible that Samsonov gets a nice little run here. In terms of scheduling quirks, they have 13 back-to-backs. That's tied for 11th in the league. 32 off nights. That is tied for 7th. And from weeks 22 to 24, their playoff schedule, they have 10 games with 3 off nights. And then from weeks 23 to 25, they have 12 games with 3 off nights. Both of those are decent playoff schedules. Not a ton of off nights, but a decent amount of games. In terms of their power play projection, I've got Jack Eichel, Ivan Barbashev, Mark Stone, Thomas Hertl, and Shea Theodore. There has been some discussion about, is it Theodore or Hanifin that are going to play on the power play. I do think Shea Theodore probably gets a run out of the gate. I do think he has way more offensive upside than Noah Hanifin. But yeah, I do see Eichel, Stone, and Hertl kind of being locks here as long as Stone is healthy. Barbashev, I'm not really sure about. There are a few other guys that are relatively interesting. Victor Olofsson, as we mentioned before, is there. Pavel Dorofeyev is a young guy that's kind of coming up the ranks. He had performed well in limited time last year and will probably have a full-time spot with the team this year. And then Alexander Holtz that came over. He was a highly touted prospect that just hasn't really gotten a good opportunity in New Jersey. So I mean, there's a huge opportunity here in Vegas with a severe lack of offensive depth. So they are looking quite a bit thinner up front, and any of those guys I think could slot in at the fourth forward position. But I do have Barbashev penciled in there to start at the very least. In terms of my projections for the forwards, I've got Jack Eichel for 39 goals, 47 assists, 86 points, 337 shots. I also have him for a ton of blocks as well. So Jack Eichel, I'm very excited about. Ivan Barbashev, got him for 19 goals, 33 assists, 52 points, and 165 hits. Mark Stone, 26 goals, 46 assists, 72 points if he plays 82 games. Thomas Hurdle, I've got him for 25 goals, 43 assists, 68 points. Pavel Dorofeyev, I've got him for 24 goals, 16 assists, 39 points. Alexander Holtz, 22 goals, 22 assists, 44 points. And William Karlsson, I've got him for 21 goals, 32 assists, 53 points. Now, Holtz is another guy that's hard to project just because he's really played sheltered minutes in New Jersey, and again has not gotten a very good opportunity. Was healthy scratched a ton. Kind of had a hard time getting into a rhythm. But I have him projected to play on the second line, and get a few more minutes. So I gave him a minutes bump. That's why I've got him at 22 goals. I do think that he has the ability to score like that, and I'm hoping he does get that opportunity here. Dorofeyev, I think, will play in the top six as well. And he can definitely get there. He's shown already in the past year or two in small samples that he can score. I'm pretty excited about Eichel and Hurdle down the middle on this team. I think that both of them are going to produce very nicely, and I'm comfortable taking them. I think they're being undervalued in drafts as well, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's look at the defense first. I've got Noah Hannafin with 9 goals, 39 assists, 48 points, and 118 blocks. I've got Alex Pietrangelo with 11 goals, 31 assists, 42 points, and 191 blocks. And then Shea Theodore with 13 goals, 51 assists, 64 points, and 125 blocks. So I do have Theodore projected to play on the top power play for most of the year. And then I have Hannafin and Pietrangelo getting in on a little bit of power play time here and there as well. So Pietrangelo obviously has the upside. He blocks. He gets so many shot blocks, and that definitely helps his value. But his offensive ceiling has definitely decreased. I think 42 points is probably the ceiling for Pietrangelo, unless somehow he gets some power play time. But I just don't see that being the case anymore. Noah Hannafin, I think if he does end up getting on the top power play, could smash through 48 points. So that's a guy that I'm really interested in. He's a guy that I think is probably at the top end of guys that aren't necessarily going to be sure things to get power play time, that will produce pretty well at 5v5 anyways. So I'm definitely interested in him, and he's one of my top 3 targets. So as we jump into the top 3 targets, I've got Jack Eichel, Shea Theodore, and Noah Hannafin. Jack Eichel, I looked at his ADP on Yahoo. It's 40.1. That's crazy. Jack Eichel going in the mid 4th round is ludicrous. In Apples and Genos leagues, he's going at 26, which seems much more reasonable. Jack Eichel, I think early 3rd round is very, very nice, and I think he could definitely live up to that draft capital. But yeah, if he falls any further than that, I'm absolutely grabbing Jack Eichel for sure. Shea Theodore, his Yahoo ADP is 111. If he gets top power play and is able to get up to 60 something points like I have him projected for, that's pretty nice at 111. I think that's pretty nice value. And then Noah Hannafin is also going at 111 on Yahoo, so right around the same time. So people are I think that people are wondering who is it going to be, and in Apples and Genos leagues, people are thinking it's Shea Theodore because he's going at 83. Noah Hannafin's going at 113 in Apples and Genos leagues. So I think that is the way it's going to go, but Hannafin I think is a safe gamble at that range as well. So that's a guy that I'm definitely targeting too.